Hi everyone, welcome back in the third and the final part of the full stack user management application. So for those of you who are new to this video, welcome to my channel. So first I want to just show you a quick demonstration of what we are building or the final result after this video. So as you can see, the project is deployed in vercel, and all the data that we are seeing here is persistent in the database. So we're using Convex for storing our database. And so this is the main page of our application. So it supports dark mode as well, since we're using ShadCN. And also if we want to search for a user, you can just click on this to open up this dialog, and you can quickly search for the user that you want. You can be able to add a new user. So this is the dialog and the fields that we have in the dialog. So we're using ZOT and React Hook form. Also, we have in this table that shows the recent added users. And also you can see more data and more information when we click on the see more. So we're gonna be going to another route called all users. And here we have a full list with the filtering, the sorting, the searching, and the pagination. We can be able to export the table, and also we have actions to copy the user and also to edit or delete the user if you want to. And everything is persistent and stored inside the database. So if I reload the page, as you can see, we can access to the data, and also we have the skeleton as well when loading the data. So this is what we're going to be building. And also one thing that I used massively is this website called Bolstack. So this is a project that I'm building and I'm maintaining, and I'm providing some UI blocks that you can use. So everything is completely for free. That's going to help you to build your projects a lot faster, especially the UI that takes a lot of time. So that's really helped me to save a ton of time while building this application. So I let you discover this website. So you will find down below the description the link to this website. So now we are gonna keep working on our project. And to be able to do this, so um, let's go back to VS Code, and I'm going to type in npm install convex. So we need to install convex in our project. So our project or our package has been installed. Now we are going to type in npm convex div and hit enter. So we can choose to create a new project or choose an existing project. So we're going to create a new project, of course. And so I'm going to stick to the name. So, or I'm going to do this user stack app like this, or add final. So I'm going to choose cloud deployment. So now we created successfully our project. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Convex. So let's go to Convex, and I'm going to log in with my Google account. So as you can see, our project has been added successfully into the dashboard. So I can access to the application. So now we are in the development mode. So once we finish creating our mutations and our table, then we can, and once we want to deploy it into vercel, then we're gonna choose the productions. So now, as you can see, our project has been created successfully. Now we can be able to create our functions or mutations and also our schema, and this is what we're going to do in the next step. So after we set up Convex and we installed it inside our project, So the first step that we're going to be doing is creating our first schema. So to be able to do so, go to the Convex folder and I'm going to create a new file called schema.ts and I'm going to paste the code or this schema in here. So basically what we are doing here, we are going to create a new table called users and we're going to define a table. So we're going to use these convex functions. So we're going to create this table and inside this object, we're going to define the structure of our user as, so it's going to be the same structure that we used in Zust10. So that's the power of using Convex because it uses Typescript. So all the everything that we are going to do here, it's going to be type safe and it's going to go along with the types that we created in the front end with the user object. So after we created this and saved the file, so I'm gonna go to the dashboard so you can access to the dashboard via this link and we should see our new table has been created and so if we go to the data, so as you can see our table has been created the with the columns and if we go to the schema, so as you can see, so this is the schema that we defined. So the best thing about Convex, so everything that we are doing in here and just saving the file or adding a file inside the Convex folder, so it's going to happen. Everything's going to update instantly. So if you do this and you go back to your dashboard, you will see all the things has been updated in your dashboard. So that's the power of using Convex because it uses WebSocket technology that allow this to happen. So once we created our users table, we defined our schema and we created our table. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to create our mutation. So the first mutation, the function is the add user. And also we're gonna add another function called get user. So it's gonna add the query or use the query function from Convex. So to be able to do this, we're going to create a new file inside the Convex folder, and I'm gonna call it users.ts. So I'm gonna copy this file. So here we have what is called mutation. So it is a function that's going to allow us to add a new user or to do any change in your table. And also we have the get user, so it's going to use the query function to be able to extract and pull out the data from the user's table. So, and one thing that I want to show you, if we go to our dashboard and we go to the function, we should see our users. So just by adding this inside the file, it has been updated automatically in our dashboard. So we can access to our functions just from here. So that's the good thing about using Convex. So now after we created our mutation, so I'm going to create a seed route to be able to use the users that we created inside the user data. So we're going to take all the users from this array and we want to add them automatically in our convex table. So I don't want to do this manually. So as you can see, we have a lot of users. So we are going to create a new route called seed, and we're going to use our mutation inside the get method to be able to add the users. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it API, of course, since we're using Next.js, and I'm going to I'm going to create a new folder called seed, and I'm going to create a new file called route.js. So I'm going to paste the code. So as you can see, we have the get function. So first we're going to access to the next public convex URL. So convex creates automatically inside the .env.local the public convex URL. And so we're going to use this to be able to point to our database and the cloud. And here we're going to use the get function, and we're going to use the for loop to access to each user inside the user's object, which is this array that I showed you. And we are going to call the mutation method from the client, and we're going to use the API.users.add, which the mutation that exists inside the user.js, and we're going to add the user. So, and if everything goes well, so we're going to return response message seed completed. So to be able to execute this, so normally after we finish or doing this, you should delete the route. Otherwise, people will kind of start playing with this. So you don't want to have this in your application. So what we're going to do, we're going to go create a new tab, and I'm going to add API seed, and this is going to automatically create data inside the database. So if we open up the console log here and go to node, so the API has been executed, and as you can see, seed completed, and we should see the data in our table. So as you can see, the data has been added successfully in our table. So that's why I started first by creating add user mutation and the get users. So those are the starting point to be able to first add the seed and also to extract the user's data to be able to show them in our application. So after we created the convex mutations, so now what we're going to be doing, we're going to be updating the data functions inside the hooks folder. So the first one that we're going to be updating is this one. So here, as we saw, we are using the fetch users method to simulate the fetching of the user by using promise and using the set timeout. So after 2 seconds, we are going to return the user's array. So the only thing that we're going to do here, and that's the beauty of using use queries, all you have to do is just update this fetch users function along with adding the API route. So first we're going to update the fetch users function. First, I'm going to get rid from the fetch users function, and I'm going to paste this function. So here we're using the API users. So we're going to head this API by using the fetch method. And we are going to create a new API route called users. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new folder called it users, and then I'm going to create a new file called route.js. And here I'm going to paste the code with the get method to be able to hit this API successfully. So this is the function. So the only thing that I need to do, I need to update the path of the API. So I'm going to do this. So now as you can see, the error is gone. And as we did for the seed route, so we need first to access to the real URL of our database by using the Convex HTTP client uh, class. So I think that is a class, a built-in class, and we're going to use the get method. And here we're going to use the query from the so if you go back to the convex user, so we are going to use this method in here, and to be able to extract all the users from the database. So normally with Convex, you can use the you can use the Convex mutation directly without using the API, but just for the sake of learning how to use APIs along with Convex, so that's why I added the API routes. So once we created this, we can go back to our browser and we're going to test this out. So I'm going to type in users here, and we should see our in a form of an array all the users in our browser. So as you can see, we extracted all the users. So if I check this out, we can be able to see clearly an organized way all the objects from the users database. So after we did this, if we go to our application, so I'm going to open up a new route here, and the information that is going to be loaded, so it's gonna be coming from the database. So as you can see, the beauty of using the query, so we don't have to go to the project inside the component or wherever that where you're using the method to get the users. So we're gonna just update this function and use query. It's gonna take care of the rest. So that's the power of using the use query. So once we added the fetch users, so now we can be able to do the same thing for the add users. So what we're going to do here, we're going to update this function, and we need to create a post method that's going to hit the users API, and you are ready to go. So that's what we are going to do now. So let's go to the API folder, and inside the route.js, I'm going to create a new method called the post method, and I'm going to paste this function in here. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to take the JSON and we're going to assign it to the new user, and then we're going to create a user payload. So we're going to make sure, because the structure might be a little bit different, so we need to make sure that it's going to actually fit the same structure before that we used in Convex before we can add it inside the database. So that's why we use the user payload. And now we're going to use the client.mutation, and we're going to use the add user mutation, and we're going to pass the user payload in here, and we're going to return as a JSON the added user, so we can return it to the client and use it in the client side. So now after we added the route.js, so all we have to do is go back to the add user.js, and we need to update the add user function with the fetch method to be able to pass the new user to the server. So I'm going to get rid from this function. I'm going to paste the correct function. And let's get rid from the user's array. And so the signature is going to be the same. And we're going to hit the API users with the post method. And we're going to pass as a JSON body the new user. So it can go to the post method and add it inside the Convex database. So now if we go to the front end, and so let's try to add the new user. So I'm going to do this, and we should see the new user should be added successfully. So when I click on new user, as you can see, the new user has been added. So if I reload the page, so let's reload the page to see if the user has been added successfully. And we should see 15 users in here. So if it does, it means that the user has been updated successfully. So as you can see, users has been added inside the database. And if we go to our Convex project, so that's the user that we added, and it means that everything is working successfully. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add the delete user. So we're going to follow the same principle, we're going to add the new route inside our new method called delete inside the route.js, and then we're going to update the user or delete user function. So let's update the delete user function. So I'm going to paste the new function in here, and I should add curly brackets in here. And so this is the new function. So we're going to head the API users route by using the delete method, and we're going to pass only the user ID. And then we are going to wait for the response.json. So let's get from this log just for debugging, and we're going to return the result.delete user ID. So now once we created this, so we're going to go to the route.js and we're going to add our delete method in here. But first, before we add the delete method, we should add, or we need to add uh, a mutation here called delete user that we're going to use inside the route.js as we did for the post method. So we use the add user mutation from the user.js. So we need to add a new mutation called the delete user before we can update our route. So I'm going to paste the function. So this is the delete user mutation. So the argument, it's going to be the user ID as a string, and the handler, which is the function that's going to do the thing inside the database. So we are going to uh, access to the database, and we're going to use the .query users, which is the name of the table. We're going to filter by the user ID, and then we're going to use the collect method. And so if the length is 0, so we're going to throw an error, and we're going to access to the elements inside the users, and then we're going to use the ID to know the existing ID, and then we're going to use the delete method to be able to delete the ID that we want or that we set inside the delete user function. So once we did this, so now we can be able to safely create our post method. So here is the delete method function. So we're going to get the user ID from the client, and then we are going to check if the user ID is not null. And so if it is, so we're going to return error. And we're going to use the client that mutation, and we're going to use the delete method or mutation that we just created. And as an argument, we're going to use the user ID. And then we're going to return the result as a JSON response. So once we have done this, so we should test this out. So we're going to go back to our application. And so I'm going to go to the uh, all users page. So there I can access to the delete function. So I'm going to go to the action column to the drop down and click on delete and click on delete user. So it failed. So something went wrong. So I fixed the issue. So the reason why it throw an error is because the function has not been added inside. The delete user function has not been updated in the dashboard. So what I did, I just rerun the npx convex dev, and then the function has been added successfully. And now we can be able to run the deletion successfully. So just to see how things are working, so when I click on delete user, so the user has been deleted successfully. And if I reload the page, so all the information will remain persistent, and we should see 13 or the number 13 in here, which means that the user has been deleted successfully inside our database. So here you go. As you can see, we have the 13 number and everything is going great. So now the next step that we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to our code and we're going to add a new mutation called update user to be able to update a new user. And also we're going to update the data function in here and the update user. Also, we need to add a new route or a new method called the put method to be able to update the user. And this is what we are going to do next. So we're going to start by adding the put method in the route.js of the user's API route. So I'm going to paste the function in here. So basically, we are going to do pretty much the same thing that we did for the post method, but here we are going to um, we need to create an update user mutation. So we are going to get the request from the client and we're going to store it inside the updated user. And then we're going to create a user payload and we're going to create this object that's going to be the same schema that we used in Convex. And then we can be able to safely use the mutations from Convex. So here the error is here because we need to create a new mutation called the update user inside the user, uh, inside the user.ts. So we need to add our schema, and this is what I'm going to do. So this is the update user function. So the argument, it's going to be the user. And so we're going to use all the structure that we defined in the user schema and inside the handler function. So this is going to be the same as we did for the delete function to be able to access to the user that we want. And then we're going to use the patch method from Convex to be able to update the user based on the Convex ID. And then we are going to get the update the user by using the db.get, and then we're going to return the updated user so we can use it in our route. So let's save our file. And also one thing that I'm going to do first, so I'm going to check if the function has been added in our dashboard. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard and we should see our function update user has been added. So if we go to the functions section, so as you can see, the update user has been added successfully. So now we can safely use our function. So here, so let me get rid from this line. So there is no need to use this. And if we go back to our route.js and the put method, so as you can see, the error has gone. So one last thing that we need to do or update is updating this update user. So this is a promise simulating the update by using the set timeout. So as we did for the add user and delete user, so we need to update this as well to hit our API. So I'm going to paste the code in here or the new one. And as you can see here, we're going to use the fetch method with the put method, and we're going to send the whole updated user to the server side so it can actually send it as well in the Convex and do the necessary updates. So now, after we've done all of this, we are going to test this out. And so let's go to our application and we're gonna again go to our all users list. So I'm gonna randomly choose this one and I'm going to update this user. So I'm gonna change some stuff. So let's change the location and I'm gonna hit edit user. And again, we have another error. So let's go back to our project and see what is going on here. So, so after I repeated the operation, so finally it worked. So I'm going to show this. So I'm going to update some of the things in here. So hopefully that it's going to work again. Click on edit user. So as you can see, our user has been updated successfully. So if we go back to our user, so as you can see, the user has been updated. So it remains the same, meaning that it has been updated successfully in our database. So the last function that we need to update is when we want to delete all the users. So this is the function that we want to update. And also we need to add a new convex mutation to be able to do this. And also we're gonna add a patch method in the route.js to handle the deletion of the users that we selected. So basically we're gonna use it when we click on this button. So every time that we click on this button, we are going to trigger this delete users function. So first we need to update this one. So let's get rid from this function. So I'm going to paste this function. So as you can see, the function has the same signature. It accepts the user IDs as an array of strings. So then we're going to hit our API. So we need to update our route.js. And then we're going to add the patch method. And we're going to send the user's IDs, the array to the server side. And then we are going to handle the response. So if something goes wrong, we're going to throw this error. Otherwise, we're going to store the results inside the result constant. And so I was just logging this out just for debugging. And finally, we're going to return the delete users. So once we did this, so we're going to go to the route.js, and then I'm going to add the patch method in the route.js. So this is the function. Again, it's going to throw this error because we need to add this mutation in the convex or the users.js in the convex folder. So first we are going to get this from the client. So we're going to do some checks in here. And then we're going to use the mutation to be able to trigger the delete users mutation. And then we're going to return the result in a form of JSON. So now to fix this error, and what we're going to do, we're going to go to the convex folder inside the users.js. And here we're going to add our mutation. So this is the delete users mutation. So it is a little bit a long uh, code. So first we're going to create two arrays, empty arrays, and then we are going to access to the users IDs to the string or each element inside the array of string. And then for each one, we are going to actually trigger or fire all of this function to delete each one. So this is basically the function, and we're gonna return this object. So once we did all of this, so hopefully that I've added all the necessary update to be able to delete all the users. And now, first, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the function section just to make sure that the function has been added in our dashboard. So as you can see, it has been added. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to my application and let's see that if this is working. So I'm gonna select some of the users and I'm gonna click on this button. I'm gonna select proceed and hopefully that the user has been deleted. So as you can see, it has been deleted successfully. Just to test this out, so I'm gonna refresh the page and hopefully that the number stays the same. So as you can see, the number stays the same. It means that the users has been deleted successfully from our database. So as you can see, we updated all the CRUD operations and we stored or we added them in with our database and everything is working. So now I think that the application is ready to be deployed in our vercel. So I'm going to show you the steps. So they are very simple to deploy the application in vercel and put it out there. So the first step that we need to do before we can be able to deploy our application, so we need to use our Convex database into the production mode. So the first thing that we need to do, we are going to use this command npx convex deploy and hit enter. So as you can see, it will generate a new route and asking us, do you want to push your code to a production deployment? So I'm gonna choose yes. So after we created our new URL for production, so now we need to go back to our dashboard and we are going to go up here and select production. So Convex created a new link, production link. So now the data, it's going to be empty, but we have all the functions that we used. So when we want to use our database with vercel, so we're going to use this link. So this link, it's going to be static. It's not like the deployment link or the development link. It's always changing. So once we created this, so we're going to go to the settings, and here we're going to use this deployment URL, and also we need to generate a production or generate a production deploy key. So I'm gonna click on this. So I'm gonna just use this simple name and click save, and it's going to generate for us this link to be able to use it in vercel. So after we've done this, so now I'm gonna push all the updates in GitHub so we can be able to use this in our in vercel. So I'm going to add git add and then git commit push update git push origin main. So this will update my repo in my GitHub account. So we can be able to use this to create a new project with it in vercel. So now I'm going to go back to the browser and specifically I'm going to go to my vercel account and I'm going to add a new project and I'm going to add the project that I just updated and I'm going to click on import and then in here inside the environment variables, so I'm going to add the keys. So the first one, it's going to be convex deploy key. And I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And in here, I'm going to copy the key. So make sure to not show the key. So anyways, after this video, I'm going to delete all of this. But for production, don't reveal your keys. So let's go to vercel and I'm going to paste this in here. And also I'm going to add the new one. And so this is the name of the variable. And I'm going to add the deployment URL link. So I'm going to paste it. So let's go back to vercel and I'm going to paste it in here. And I'm going to hit deploy. So as you can see, our project has been deployed successfully. So now if I click on this, so I'm gonna go to the project. So as you can see now, since the table is so now we are pointing to this production route. So now we need to fill up the data in our users table. So we're going to do the same thing that we did when we created first our Convex project. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add API seed and hit enter. So this is going to add the data directly in our project. So if I go back and I'm gonna reload the page. So as you can see, our project has been added in our database. So if we go to the data, we should see, of course, the data in here. So you can see all the data in the data or the users table. So we are, as I said, pointing to this route. And just to see that everything is working, so I'm going to add a new user like this and click on new user. So as you can see that the user has been added to the database, and to check this out, so as you can see, this user has been added. So now our application is fully deployed in vercel and everything is working well. So this is so we come to the end of our project series. So I hope you learned something new from this project, and I'll see you in another project in this channel.